Are we live? Yes, we are. Oh man. I'm in a completely different environment. I'm out of my mom's house and I'm at a buddy's house, Caleb, and I'm playing on his setup. I just logged into his computer and created my own account on his computer with his kind of permission. And then yeah. I also there's a lot of things that happened. Let's get into it. Whoa. This is way too big. And there's no audio coming through on my side. Why? How do you make the GUI smaller? Oh, here we are. Hmm. Why isn't the audio no work? I cannot hear anything. Chat is disabled for this live stream. What? Oh, okay. Am I just gonna play with the documentary in the background? That works perfectly fine with me. Let's go. The story of Minecraft by Big Ol' Entertainment.
Minecraft has become one of the world's most popular video games, making hundreds of millions of dollars every year. Minecraft is known worldwide, with 140 million active users. But how did it get here? Let's find out. The story of Minecraft begins in the capital of Sweden, Stockholm, and while the capital has a sizable population of just under 1 million people, one person was born here back on June 1st of 1979 to a Finnish mother and a Swedish father. This baby was a boy named Marcus Persson, and unbeknownst to these parents, this boy would create one of the world's biggest games ever released. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. While Marcus was born in the big city of Stockholm, he grew up in a small town 3 hours north from there, in Sweden, Edsbyn, with a population of just under 4,000 people. Marcus's father worked for the railroad, and his mother was a nurse. However, Marcus and his family would eventually move back to Stockholm when Marcus was 7. 7 is an important age here, as at this time is when Marcus would be introduced to something that would change his life.
To match the higher intelligence of the new Commodore 128, an Apple IIc would have to add 3 more 2Cs to expand to 512K. An extra keypad, 30 block graphics sets, color sprites, 2 more voices, 4 instruments, a cartridge port, a joystick port, and a Commodore 64. Commodore 128 personal computer, a higher intelligence at a lower price.
The Commodore 128 was the last 8-bit home computer that was commercially released by Commodore Business Machines. The Commodore 128 was a significantly expanded successor to the Commodore 64, with nearly full compatibility. The newer machines had 128 kilobytes of RAM and 2 64-kilobyte banks, and an 80-column color video output. It also included a Zilog Z80 CPU, which allows the Commodore 128 to run CP/M as an alternative library. Coupled with the Commodore 64 software library, this gave the Commodore 128 one of the broadest ranges of available software among its competitors. The Commodore 128 was released in 1985 and sold 7.5 million units worldwide, and one of those 7.5 million people who purchased it happened to be Marcus's father. And this purchase is what kickstarted Marcus's interest with coding. Helping to fuel his new passion, Marcus's family had also subscribed to computer magazines. As Marcus explained in greater detail in this Gamasutra interview, my father bought a Commodore 128 when I was 7 years old, and we started subscribing to computer magazines. It was a huge one, newspaper format, and it had program listings in it that you could enter into your computer and get silly little games, or fun effects, and things like that. I started entering them and noticed that they broke or did different things if you changed what you entered. I don't remember exactly how fast this process was, but I made my first own program when I was 8 years old. It was an extremely basic text adventure game, where you had to enter the correct sentences to move to the next room. The purchasing of this computer opened a whole new world to young Marcus, and due to these silly little games and other games like A Bard's Tale, an action role-playing title, and Boulder Dash, an 8-bit puzzle game, and other pirated games on the Commodore 128 system, Marcus learned to program at the age of 8. And while this new door opening seemed like a step to a brighter future, things would not get easier for Marcus. While Pearson was a good student, he found life at school difficult after his family moved to Stockholm when he was in the 2nd grade. Unable to make new friends easily, he became even closer to the family computer. This fondness of video games and coding was described in the book of Minecraft, The Unlikely Tale of Marcus Notch Peterson. As Marcus's mother, Ritva, recalls periods when her son would use fake stomach aches to stay home from school and spend hours in front of the computer. And while Marcus was finding joy in his father's Commodore 128, he may have found it as his only escape from the troubles of his family life. When Marcus was about 12, his parents divorced, and his father moved to a cabin in the countryside. In the years that followed, his father suffered from depression. As Marcus says, "My dad went to jail for bad stuff, robberies, break-ins, because he got stuck in substance abuse. We really had a shaky period," Pearson explains in a Rolling Stone interview. To make things worse, his younger sister also began to experiment with drugs and eventually ran away from home. To add on to all of this, Pearson failed to finish his high school. He was still living at home with his mother, who was working the graveyard shift at a local hospital. She forced him to take online programming courses. It was a wise investment, as Marcus was able to channel his childhood passion into his studies. This would lead him to start churning out games. Following his graduation and a few years of working as a web developer, Pearson created Worm Online, a massive multiplayer online role-playing game with his colleague Rolf Jansen in 2003. They used the name Mojang Specifications during the development, and as the game started turning a profit, incorporated the name Mojang Specification AB in 2007. Pearson left the project later that year and wished to reuse the Mojang name elsewhere, wherefore Jansen renamed the company to 1-2 Free AB and later Code Club AB. Heading back to 2004, at the age of 24, Marcus landed a job at Midas Player, which you probably know better as King.com, the makers of Candy Crush. While working at Midas Player, Marcus would meet someone who would play an important role in his future games. Marcus befriended another young game developer, Jacob Porzer. Jacob would describe what it was like working at Midas Player in this Forbes interview. "It was a great place to start. You'd be making small games in Flash, and you'd actually did most of the stuff in-game yourself except for the graphics." While working for Midas Player, the two began plotting their own games, some of which gained notoriety on indie game websites. Things seemed good right now for Marcus and Jacob, as they were working for a good gaming company and they could follow their passions on their off time. But while this notoriety seemed good for Marcus and Jacob, their bosses at Midas Player weren't as thrilled. "We felt that we couldn't have someone working for us that at the same time was building their own gaming company," says was Lars Markgren, the Midas Player co-founder who hired Pearson. Because of this, Marcus Pearson and Jacob Porzer were barred from making games in their free time, and this is the reason why Marcus left Midas Player in 2009, after developing 25 to 30 games for the company. Shortly after this, Pearson got a new programming job at J-Album, an online photo sharing service that didn't mind him working on his games in his free time. It was during Pearson's off hours that he would begin working on a certain gaming project. However, this soon-to-be extremely popular game wouldn't truly be realized until another game was released. Before Marcus left Midas Player, however, he was working on some projects that would be the impetus to Marcus's magnum opus, Minecraft. One of these games was actually a zombie game, with a graphics engine similar to GTA Chinatown Wars. He had made a 3D texture mapper for the zombie game prototype. He goes into more detail about this on his Tumblr post. Around this time, I was also playing around with the idea of making a zombie game, with a graphics engine similar to GTA Chinatown Wars. I made my own fully 3D texture mapper from scratch for this first time in my life. The idea was kind of vaguely to make a spiritual sequel to Left 4 Dead. Another one of these personal projects was called Ruby Dung. The name Ruby Dung was a placeholder for the name Dungeon Game in the Ruby Lands. This was a base building game inspired by Dwarf Fortress, but this game had an isometric 3-dimensional view like the game Roller Coaster Tycoon. Among the features in Ruby Dung he explored was the first-person view similar to Dungeon Keeper, but at this time he felt the graphics were too pixelated and omitted in the first-person mode. He went into more detail on the previously mentioned Tumblr post. As the Ruby Dung engine got more advanced, I started thinking about adding a first-person view for following your minions around, kinda like in Dungeon Keeper. It worked okay, but the graphics got very pixelated and distorted, so I left it out. And while these games contained some of the building blocks from Minecraft, the game you know and love, it would not be fully realized until another game was released. On April 29th of 2009, the game company Zachtronic released the game Infiniminer. Infiniminer is an open-source multiplayer block-based sandbox building and digging game, inspired by the games Infinifrag, Team Fortress 2, and Motherlode, in which the player plays as a miner searching for minerals by carving tunnels through procedurally generated block-based maps and building structures. It was developed by Zach Barth of Zachtronic Industries, with the help of his friend Chris Gengler, in their spare time, and released in steps of incremental updates during April and May of 2009. It quickly garnered a following on message boards around the internet. In the game, players can play on one of two teams, red or blue, as one of 4 classes: miner, prospector, engineer, or sapper. Each class has their own set of abilities, tools, and blocks they can build with each costing a certain amount of metal ore to place. Most building blocks are team colored and serve a specific function rather than being purely decorative, and player models and tools are flat sprites instead of 3-dimensional objects. The sky is perpetually dark, and the landscape of the limited size maps is made up of entirely bare dirt, stone, ores, and non-flowing lava blocks. It was originally intended to be played as a team-based competitive game, where the goal is to locate and excavate precious materials such as gold and diamonds, and bring your findings to the surface to earn points for your team, until the winning team reaches a certain amount of points. However, as the game gained popularity, players decided it was much more fun to build things than to compete for points. Despite the growing popularity of the game from the message boards, Zachtronics discontinued development on the game less than a month after its first release, after a major source leak was discovered which allowed hackers to make unauthorized modifications to the game. Soon, there were players using modified clients to cheat on servers, and multiple communities arose, each with different versions of the game, and it was hard for the developers to maintain Infiniminer, resulting in further development ceasing. While Zachtronics discontinued the development on Infiniminer, the game was still available to be downloaded, and needless to say, Marcus was a fan. Once Marcus played Infiniminer, he realized what kind of game he wanted to make. He again goes into detail from that Tumblr post. But then I found Infiniminer, and my god, I realized that was the game I wanted to do. I played it in multiplayer for a while and had a blast, but found it flawed. Building was fun, but there wasn't enough variation, and the big red-blue blocks were pretty horrible. I thought a fantasy game in that style would work really well, so I tried to implement a simple first-person engine in that style, reusing some of the art and code from Ruby Dung. As Marcus said, Infiniminer is what really laid down the foundation for Minecraft, and while he found Infiniminer fun, he also found it flawed. However, he saw the real potential of this type of game. Along with this newfound inspiration, he also used art assets from his previous project Ruby Dung, which were the grass and cobblestone block textures that appeared in the last last version of RubyDung, and also appear in the earliest builds of Minecraft. So as Marcus sat alone in his Stockholm apartment in 2009 during his free time, he reused some art and code from multiple earlier projects like RubyDung, and he then began working on a clone of Infiniminer, simply called Cave Game. Cave Game took him about a week. And when this was done, Marcus decided to upload a video of the tech test of his new Cave Game to show it off. And the video of his Cave Game tech test got good responses, which drove him to complete the game. He describes this in his Tumblr post. The response was very positive, and I was blown away with how good the frame rate was, and how well it ran in a browser, so I decided to go for it. I knew I didn't want the flat sprite look of enemies that Infiniminer had, but I also knew I wasn't a good enough artist to make anything that looked really good. Additionally, realistic looking mobs would clash horribly with the terrain. As Marcus was working on the game, he realized that he needed to make a player character, as there was no player character in the beginning, just a hitbox that was 1.7 blocks tall. Luckily for him, he already had a model for the characters. Remember when Marcus was creating that 3D texture mapper for a zombie game prototype, which had a graphics engine similar to GTA China Wars? Well, this prototype was called Zombie Town, which he also uploaded to his YouTube channel. He ended up liking these player models and added them into his new game. He explained in further detail saying, "Then I realized I had already made a fairly cool looking player model when I did Zombie Town, so I spent some time porting them to OpenGL. And as you can see, the player models from that Zombie Town prototype were ported into Cave Game." And speaking of Cave Game, the title of Cave Game was changed by the suggestion of Paul Erez, better known as Rinku Hero, who is a New Jersey-based game developer, also a member of the Independent Games Wiki. This suggestion happened in an internet relay chat between Marcus and Paul, and this suggestion for the new name was Minecraft, Order of the Stone. Marcus again goes into detail in another Tumblr post. "The awesome but insane people at the Independent Game Wiki helped me come up with the title for this game, and it's Minecraft, Order of the Stone. Minecraft because it's a good name, Order of the Stone because it sounds like Order of the Stick, one of the best things on the internet." Minecraft name was also an analogy of the famous real-time strategy game StarCraft. With this new name, Marcus completed the base program of Minecraft in over a weekend in early May of 2009, and an early private testing was released as an unfinished piece of software among the TIG IRC members on the 16th of May in 2009. And then on the next day of May 17th of 2009, with the name now being shortened to just Minecraft, the game was released to the public as a developed release on the TIG source forums, a forum for independent game developers. And for the first time, Minecraft was available to be played. And this was a good thing, as this first version of Minecraft was good. However, this first version of Minecraft that was released was more of a source tool than a game for most people. Users could go in and create what they wanted using basic blocks that had been set up. Members quickly began giving Marcus feedback on the new game. Based on this feedback from the forums, he had updated the game. This version later became known as Classic Version. Marcus then released a commercial version on the 13th of June 2009. He reused the name Mojang Specifications for this release as well. Now, Classic Version is a far cry from the Minecraft we have today, as it did not support many of the main staples at this time. There wasn't too much to do except for craft blocks into shapes. There was an infinite amount of blocks the player could use at their disposal, although the player could only place old textured cobblestone. There was also no crafting or even inventory yet. But even with this game missing a large amount of features, this was just the beginning, and Marcus would continue to update the game based on the growing feedback he was getting. These updates would happen somewhat rapidly between September 2009 and June 2010. This would happen during what would be called developmental phases. These would be dubbed as Survival Test, In-Dev, and Inif-Dev. I hope I said that one right. During the first developmental phase, Survival Test, as the name suggests, this version was to test out Minecraft's survival mode. Survival Test is quite different compared to what Minecraft is today. Pigs and sheep would drop mushrooms, which was the only food at the time. Players could find red mushrooms, but these would hurt the player when eaten. This version also had a point system where each mob awarded different amounts of points. And speaking of mobs, 7 new mobs were added. Creepers, zombies, skeletons, spiders, pigs, sheeps, and giants. And if you're wondering what giants are, they're basically just giant zombies. They were added in the last 0.30 survival test version, but they were never officially implemented because they were just too overpowered. Another interesting fact we should mention is the creation of arguably Minecraft's most popular mob, the Creeper. The Creepers were created as a result of a coding error. Marcus developed the Creeper around the odd appearance of a pig model when Marcus mixed up the dimensions, with the length and height being swapped. Once added, Creepers only explode when they were killed. They used melee combat and constantly hopped around. Also in this version, iron ore dropped iron blocks. Skeletons shot out 6 arrows in all directions upon death. Gold ore dropped gold blocks, and coal ore dropped slabs. When a player destroys a block of wood, it would drop 3 to 5 wooden planks in this version as well. After this was released, Marcus would get more feedback from those playing it. He would then implement these new features into Minecraft during the next developmental phase, in-dev phase. And around the time of in-dev's release, Marcus decided he needed a bit of help with his new game. So he sent out requests for artists and got around 30 applications. Of these close to 30 applications, Marcus chose to work with a Hayden Scott Barron, who is often known as Doc. Their resume contains character creation in the Lost Winds games for the Wii, as well as doing artwork for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Doc was also one of the 3 early testers of Minecraft. Hayden got to work on making a logo for Minecraft. Marcus described his fondness for the logo Hayden made in a Tumblr post. The logo says very much about the style and feel of whatever it is a logo for, and I think it's very friendly and playful, with a certain nice retro touch to it. It also incorporates the blockiness of the game with the clouds without giving too much focus. And while the logo is nice, the biggest thing Hayden worked on was actually the player models for the game. Hayden created 4 MD3 code models for the game. This sketch shows that they weren't as square or blocky as the original models. Marcus explains his reasoning for these models in the same Tumblr post. It isn't as square and blocky as the old models, and I think that kind of scared me at first. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this was the way to go. Given enough square edges, the models will fit in fine, and these are much more customizable and have much more personality. So it seemed like a lot was happening with Minecraft, as it now had another person working on it with Marcus. But as it turns out, he wasn't the only person who was working with Marcus. As in early 2009, Marcus became acquainted with someone else from the TIG source forums, and this person was Daniel Rosefeld, better known by his stage name C418. Daniel Rosefeld is a German musician, producer, and sound engineer. Rosenfeld was born and grew up in East Germany in 1989. He learned to create music on early versions of Schism Tracker and Ableton Live in the early 2000s. It was his brother, Harry Rosenfeld, who introduced him to music composition through Ableton Live. After being introduced to music production by his brother, he started releasing music on Bandcamp. After Danny Baranowski, who is an American electronic musician composer, composing music mainly for indie films and indie games, like Super Meat Boy and The Binding of Isaac, suggested that he release them there. Throughout 2007 to 2009, Rosenfeld would occasionally upload music to Bandcamp as a hobby. It was around this time when he became interested in game development and audio, which resulted in him joining an indie game development forum called TigSource, where he became involved with numerous smaller games and game developments. And this is how Daniel Rosenfeld, aka C418, became acquainted with Marcus Pearson, aka Notch. Rosenfeld was responsible for the sound effects and music in Minecraft. The sound engine in the still young Java game was not very powerful, so Rosenfeld had to be creative in his approach to creating sound effects and music. Daniel explains this in greater detail with The Guardian. Minecraft has a terrible sound engine. Imagine a looping sound file that plays for 2 seconds and then just starts over. Let's say it's a rain sound effect and now you're on a beach, so you have wave sounds too. But if you do that, you have to play 2 looping sound files simultaneously, making the engine crash. And the engine has only 20 sound channels. So if you make a crow farm and a sheep farm, you can't have all these animals making noises at the same time. Terrible. This sadly isn't the only issue with the music and sounds in Minecraft, as he continues to explain. So imagine there's a creeper in the house way over there. Technically, you shouldn't be able to hear him because he's right over there, and there's a wall between you. But in the game, you can hear them because telling program there's a wall takes so much computing and processing power that's not worth doing it. Despite the limitations, Minecraft now had 3 people working on it, and it seemed a lot would now be coming to this in-dev phase with the extra help. The in-dev phase was initially released after Marcus received a request to let the community try out new features he was implementing. In-dev version 0.31 was released to the public at minecraft.net/indev and available only to people who had purchased the game. New features currently contained a more complex and realistic lighting scheme than classic mode and had support for MD3 mod models, demonstrated by Rana, a MD3 model created by Hayden. In-dev received 29 updates after this, during its lifespan. Some updates were devoted mostly for testing new things, like torches or fire. Another change was when the player booted up the game, as when InDev was started, players were greeted with a newly added title screen, and the options to create a map or load a previous map. When creating a map, players had to assign 4 characteristics to the maps: the type, the shape, the size, and the theme. The map would then be created and spawn them in an InDev house. An InDev house was a 7-block wide, a 7-block long, and a 4-block tall structure with a 2-block hole for the player to exit and enter, and 2 torches on the interior. The house would be formed around the player's spawn point. The InDev house contained chests filled with TNT and a full stack of every type of block and every type of item. As InDev progressed from testing items and blocks to testing the actual survival aspect, these chests were later removed. Some other main staples of the series were added in this phase, such as the addition of inventory, diamonds, decorative paintings, farming, and day and night cycles. While Minecraft was being constantly worked on, the game was being talked about more and more on forums. Word of mouth was sharing the game, making it more popular day by day. And soon, on January 13th of 2010, Marcus would announce that Minecraft passed 100,000 registered users. Minecraft was growing at a very surprising rate. And while this was really good news, just as Minecraft was about to enter the next stage of development, a major change to the development would occur. This change took place on February 5th of 2010, as Hayden Scott Barn, or Doc, departed from Minecraft. It appears that Marcus and Hayden decided to part ways due to work-related issues, as well as several problems regarding animations. Marcus goes into more detail regarding this change in a Tumblr post. I went from doing Minecraft on my own to suddenly having to wait for someone else before I could move on. We had repeated problems getting anything animated to load into the game, and eventually I decided I had to go ahead on my own. But with Minecraft's first artist leaving, the next development phase had started, the InifDev phase, short for Infinite Development. Inif succeeded InDev when Marcus decided to rewrite the game's code to allow terrain to be infinite and procedurally generated, rather than being finite. Ever since InifDev, the map's generated worlds would be theoretically 8 times the size of Earth. InifDev's main purpose was to catch an infinite terrain version up to par with InDev's content. That purpose was filled around June of 2010. Some other things added during InifDev were minecarts, 3D clouds, buckets, signs, ladders, doors, and more craftable items. One thing that was a big change was that Minecraft InifDev version wasn't free. It was reported that Minecraft Inif was $10. And this makes sense, as it was just last month that Minecraft got to 100,000 users. Marcus explains his reasoning in a 2012 PC Gamer interview. I thought, if I don't charge, I'll never get paid. If I wait until the game is done, it's never going to be done because I won't have the money to sustain development. This was quickly proven to be a good idea, as in less than a month, Minecraft had garnered enough revenue for Pearson to take time off of his day job, which he was able to quit entirely by the end of May of 2010. All sales were processed through the game's website, wherefore he did not have to split income with third parties. Because of this, payment service provider PayPal temporarily disabled his account when it suspected fraud due to the massive influx of purchases and downloads of Minecraft. By June of 2010, PC users were buying 400 copies a day. Minecraft had become successful for Marcus so far. He was now working on the game full time. And thanks to the newfound time to dedicate to the game, on June 30th of 2010, the 4th phase in the development cycle of Minecraft, Alpha, was released. During the Alpha phase, Minecraft was updated very frequently, as Marcus was now working on Minecraft full time. Bug fixes and tweaks could happen throughout the week, appearing on the game's development blog with major additions and changes appearing in secret updates, leaving the game's players to discover the included new features. And there were a lot of new features added into Alpha, such as biomes, snowy and icy terrains, boats, cows, slimes, and chickens. The addition of redstone circuits, difficulty toggle, and lastly, the nether. I'd like to mention that is linked to the overworld via nether portals. It is filled with rugged terrain, fire, seas of lava, columns of lava, unique ores, and new mobs, like the ghasts and the zombie pigmen. There was a lot of new things to do in Minecraft. Besides the normal mining, building, and fighting, players now have more incentive to play, with new ways to play, and even a new dimension to travel to, with new mobs to fight. And speaking of fighting, that is what you'll get to do in Alpha, as the only type of game mode playable in this version was survival. And while on the topic of survival mode, on August 4th of 2010 was the first release of survival multiplayer. However, at the time, the only way to connect to a server was to find the IP of it. While still clearly in its infancy, Minecraft was coming together and it was garnering a lot of attention. Marcus Pearson and Daniel Rosenfeld were creating an up-and-coming gem of a game. Marcus was even showing interest in starting his own company with employees to help him build Minecraft into something big. He goes into more detail in another Tumblr post. "I'd love to hire some people and set up a small development studio in Stockholm. This would include additional programmers and someone in charge of the website and community features, and an artist that can make nicer glass textures. I'm not interested in changing the openness of how Minecraft is developed, nor do I have any intention of selling the product to anyone else. I want to be the one developing it." And while things were looking up for Marcus in Minecraft, Marcus also mentioned a trip in the same Tumblr post. "I'm flying to northwestern USA to speak to some of my idols, and despite all the growth towards Minecraft and his desire to hire more staff for the game, an offer to Marcus from this trip could put a screeching halt to all of this." From August 30th to September 2nd, Marcus traveled to Bellevue, Washington, to the offices of video game company Valve, where he took part in a programming exercise and met Gabe Newell, before being offered a dream job at the company. Now, there isn't any reports if Valve would want or wouldn't want Marcus working on Minecraft on the side, but there is a possibility that if Marcus takes this job, Minecraft either wouldn't have happened or it would have been very different. Regardless, Marcus decided to turn down the job. Even though this would have been a goal and opportunity to work with his idols, Marcus wanted his own game company, not to work for one. As he describes in more detail, "Somehow, I felt that Minecraft was maybe my chance to create a Valve, rather than work at Valve." The next day, more than likely strengthened by his decision, as he held his very first and spontaneous Minecraft Con, where Marcus says in a Tumblr post, "I figured we could call it Minecraft Con 2010, even if it's just 3 people sitting around in uncomfortable silence for 20 minutes. According to some reports, however, it was not just 3 people sitting there, as it is said to have over 50 people who met and hung out to talk to the creator of Minecraft for the first time. Fans were able to ask Marcus questions about Minecraft. And while this conference didn't have the dedicated wham of future Minecons, this was still a sign that the game would garner a dedicated following. But speaking of the fans in Minecraft, Minecraft's first creepypasta, Herobrine, was actually brought up to Marcus. I should probably explain who Herobrine is. Herobrine actually garnered a lot of attention in the Minecraft community. Herobrine first appeared in a single image detailing an encounter with him. It was posted in the 4chan boards, and gained some attention. It stated how Herobrine had appeared in someone's single-player game, littering the map with various pyramids and tunnels. It is the first media to name him as Herobrine. From the original creepypasta, Herobrine creates random constructions, such as sand pyramids and oceans, and 2x2 long tunnels. He also cuts off all the leaves from trees. Herobrine later grew in popularity when the Brocraft streamer Copeland photoshopped Herobrine into several screenshots to show to his chat. Copeland had played through the world as a normal Let's Player, deliberately avoiding the work-in-progress room he had set up for the hoax. Herobrine was introduced to the stream 20 minutes and 45 seconds in. He is confirmed to be a retextured painting. Copeland then screamed and ran out of the room, promptly ending the stream. However, Marcus did confirm that Herobrine was a hoax. Copeland also admitted that his stream was a hoax. However, this hasn't stopped the community from making a story around Herobrine. One theory states that Herobrine is Marcus's dead brother, somehow embedded into Minecraft. This is interesting and also completely false, as Marcus doesn't have a brother. Other popular theories among the users that Herobrine is a ghost, a higher being, a demon, a bad omen, and a virus. Herobrine is not in unmodded Minecraft and never has been. There are no references to him at all in the source code, and there is no code to allow for any entity to act like Herobrine. It is not possible for Herobrine to have existed in any unmodded clients or servers. Any appearances of Herobrine are caused by either mods being installed or because another player is using the skin. Back to Marcus though, who is still in Bellevue, Washington. After meeting with Valve and fans, Marcus decided he needed to talk to someone familiar. He reached out via Skype to his friend and fellow game developer, Jacob Porzer. Marcus, more likely feeling pumped from his visit and what he has experienced, and motivated to turn his creation into something amazing, he asks his friend to join him with making Minecraft and creating their own gaming company. As Jacob told PC Gamer, "I got a Skype call from Bellevue. Notch was like, I met with them, and they want to hire me. Obviously, I'm not interested in this, so let's just make it happen. Let's start this business." I was like, okay, I'll quit my job tomorrow. And with that, Marcus had a plan. His trip to the US came to an end, and on September 2nd, he returned home. And now that he was home, it was time to kick things into gear. Marcus and his new business partner, Jacob, subsequently incorporated Mojang AB. While Marcus continued working on Minecraft, Porzer would develop a future project for the company. However, they only wanted to focus on the development side. They needed someone to address the business side of things. Because of this, they would soon hire Daniel Kaplan on September 13th, who was a business developer, mostly known for being the founder of Ludiosity.com at the time, which was an indie dev company. Then only a few months later, Mojang would add 2 new staff members. First, Jens Bergensten, who was hired as a back-end developer for the new game Jacob Porzer would be working on. It is understandable why Marcus and Jacob sought after Jens, as his resume is impressive. Jens started programming his first game at 11 years old, using BASIC and Turbo Pascal. By age 21, he was a mapper and modder for the first-person shooter game Quake 3 Arena. He worked as a C++ and Java programmer for the game developer Kork-Eken Interactive Studios, which went bankrupt and became Oblivion Entertainment. During that time, he led development for the online role-playing game Whispers in Akara, which he later discontinued after straying from the team's original creative vision for the project. After Oblivion, Bergensten moved to Malamo and earned his master's degree in computer science at Lund University in 2008. During his studies, he founded the indie game development company Oxide Game Studios with Daniel Breinoff and Pontus Hammarberg. The studio became known for the platform game Cobalt and the real-time strategy game Harvest Massive Encounter. And until the 24th of November in 2010, Bergensten worked for the online knowledge community Planito. Even though Jens was brought in to work on the art game, he later began programming increasingly significant parts of Minecraft. And the other new member is Marcus Toivonen, or Junk Boy, who was hired as Mojang's art developer. He is a pretty secretive person, and according to Mojang, no one has ever seen his face. Due to these new hires, the newly founded Mojang had 6 dedicated employees. However, do keep in mind that C418 is still only hired as a freelancer for the company. Regardless, this was a huge step forward for Mojang and Minecraft. And with so much going on, it was time for Minecraft to enter the 5th and final development stage before the official release of Minecraft Beta, which was released on the 20th of December in 2010. And there's going to be a lot of changes with this release, including a change in price. When Minecraft entered this stage, the game saw a 50% price increase, which is reported to be $19.50.
With this new price increase, a lot of new features were added with the beta release, such as a new Minecraft logo and launcher, achievements and statistics, server-side inventory, rain and snow,
More varieties of trees, generate structures such as strongholds, abandoned mineshafts, and villages, new mobs like squid, endermen, silverfish, cave spiders, and wolves.
New health mechanics using hunger and sprinting. New mechanisms like the sticky pistons, and trapdoors. Melons and pumpkins. Maps, beds for skipping through the nights and resetting spawn points, wool dyes, shears, and lastly, creative mode, which is a game mode that was introduced in the pre-classic phase of Minecraft, added and removed a few times throughout the game's development before being made available alongside survival mode in this beta version. Unlike survival mode, where you must collect resources, build structures, battle mobs, manage hunger, and explore the world to survive and complete the game,
Whereas creative mode is the players having an infinite amount of resources to build with
no health or hunger to hamper their building, and the ability to destroy all blocks instantly. Hostile mobs will not attack even if the player provokes them. The ability to fly is also a feature with creative mode. Again, a lot was being added to Minecraft, and as the year rolled into 2011, Mojang added 2 new faces in January. The first was Tobias Molstam, as Mojang's front-end web developer. Next is Carl Manna, who was the manager of J-Album, Pearson's previous employee, to be Mojang's chief executive
Executive Officer. Jacob Porzer goes into more detail on hiring Mojang's new CEO in an MCV interview. We both wanted to stay game developers, and trying to combine that with a lot of administrative duties wasn't something we saw as particularly appealing, nor something we thought we would be very good at. Marcus knew Carl from before, and as we met him, it became even clearer that we needed someone to help us out. Let's just say we learned a lot from that meeting. Carl turned out to be a perfect fit, and I'm very happy that it worked out so well. And the snowball that was Minecraft was increasing more and more as it rolled down the mountain, as in less than 10 days after hiring those two, Minecraft had surpassed 1 million in sales. This is a huge accomplishment, especially for a brand new indie title from a brand new gaming company. And what's crazy is that this is just the beginning, as Minecraft hadn't even officially been released yet. In its first year, Minecraft roughly sold 20,000 downloads. By the end of 2010, it was now selling that many in a day. And what's even better is that Marcus, or Mojang, didn't spend $1 on marketing, as Minecraft grew virally from the community online. And the community around the game just kept growing. Players offered video tutorials, YouTube channels were devoted to the game, forums sprung up discussing the game, podcasts were started based on Minecraft. Players were realizing that Minecraft wasn't only a game, it was a platform. This is further backed up from research conducted by the University of Pennsylvania's Annenberg School of Communication, as it showed that 1/3 of Minecraft's players learned about the game via internet videos. Creators like Captain Sparkles, Yogcast, and PewDiePie had already uploaded their first Minecraft videos to YouTube, and Minecraft-related videos and channels would only become more and more popular, and in turn Minecraft would see a surge of new players during 2011. And while Minecraft was garnering more and more attention, Mojang decided to announce their other previously mentioned gaming project, and this new game from Mojang would be called Scrolls. Since this video is about Minecraft, I won't go into too much detail on the game and its development, but I will tell you that Scrolls is a strategy digital collectible card game, which aims to combine elements from trading card games and traditional board games. An interesting tidbit of information from Scrolls is that in August of 2011, Marcus received a 15-page letter from Bethesda Softworks, threatening him with a lawsuit if he does not change the name Scrolls, which according to Bethesda is too close to the Elder Scrolls name. A little while before this, Marcus had already been warned by Bethesda's lawyers about this problem, and had suggested a compromise in which he would never put any words before Scrolls. Apparently that wasn't enough for Bethesda. Good news is that this did work out for both parties years later. And while that was probably a big headache for Mojang, they pressed on as Minecraft passed 10 million registered users in July of 2011. Along with that great news, Mojang had an announcement to the Minecraft community, and this announcement would be a new way to play Minecraft, as a teaser was released on YouTube for what would be called Minecraft Pocket Edition, but was introduced as Bedrock Edition. Due to the incompatibility of the game's Java-based framework with mobile devices, this version was programmed in C++ programming language instead. Pocket Edition was initially launched exclusively for the Xperia Play on Google Play for $6.99 on August 16th of 2011. It was later released for Android devices on October 7th of 2011 and iOS devices on November 17th of 2011. This, however, wasn't the only new version of Minecraft being released, as it was revealed at E3 of 2011 that Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition is in the works. Minecraft would soon now not only be available via computer and phones, but also to console goers as well. However, this version was outsourced to a Scotland-based developer 4J Studios, which also used C++. With Minecraft growing more available to players, Minecraft quickly reached 10 million registered Minecraft users, only 6 months after reaching 1 million users. With all these new Minecraft players, Mojang went on to hire more employees. The first hire was an artist for Mojang, and his name was Henrik Peterson. Along with Henrik, Mojang also hired Lydia Winters, Mojang's first female staff member. And Lydia's story to get to work for Mojang is pretty interesting. Winters graduated in 2008 from Florida Atlantic University with a bachelor's degree in elementary education and teaching. She then taught 4th grade for a year before delving into photography, often shooting local weddings. Later, she discovered video blogging after attending a photography workshop and began making daily videos about random topics. Despite her style becoming popular, which also led to her raising $10,000 for breast cancer research, she then decided to focus her videos on video games after consulting consulting with friends. Although Winters had only played one video game by then, The Oregon Trail, she decided to play Minecraft as her friends thought it would be hilarious. On November 15th of 2010, she uploaded her first video to YouTube under the name Minecraft Chick, as Minecraft Girl was already taken. And by June of 2011, Winters sent an email to Mojang asking if she could interview the creators of Minecraft at that year's E3. Carl Manor replied, asking if she could host a portion of their booth dedicated to Minecraft on Xperia Play. She accepted, and was soon at the booth in Los Angeles. Manor was so impressed with how she acted that he had told the rest of the staff that Winters would be hired. She was then hired to be Minecraft's community builder and brand director on June 28th of 2011, and she was then flown into Stockholm that December. And just like that, Mojang had hired another talented employee. Things for Marcus, Mojang, and Minecraft were looking very good. Minecraft was quickly gaining more and more attention on multiple different devices, very quickly going from 1 million to 10 million active users. And the game surpassed 16 million registered users and 4 million purchases in November of 2011. And with Minecraft coming out for the Xbox 360, the 9th highest selling game console, Mojang had continued to build its team for Minecraft for its new projects. And Marcus, a young man whose new sandbox adventure game and new game company are successful, he's doing what he loves, making video games. And to top it off, Marcus Pearson on August of 2011 is a newlywed, marrying Eller Zetterstrand, who is a Swedish-based artist and computer programmer. Everything was looking good for the series of Minecraft, but would this momentum for the game and its founders continue? While the first Minecon was only 50 people with Marcus under umbrellas in the rain, the second one, also in 2010, was a gathering of Minecraft fans on a Minecraft Classic game server. There was a spleef tournament, a building competition, and an obstacle course race. There was also going to be a griefing competition, but it was cancelled. There was also a signature wall that 167 people signed, including by the creator, Marcus Pearson. However, the third Minecon to be held would blow the previous ones out of the water. Minecon 2011 was held at Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada on November 18th of 2011. This event featured many different events, keynote speeches from members of the Minecraft community, including one from Marcus, building contests, breakout classes with different Minecraft topics, costume contests, exhibits, meeting worldwide Minecraft personalities, and commemorative merchandise. There were 4,500 attendees at Minecon 2011, coming from 24 nations. Events included the kickoff party, to which everyone was invited to, and the Into the Nether party with deadmau5, where only attendees 21 years and older were allowed into. One big piece of news at this event was that Marcus, the game's creator, would actually be stepping down from lead dev role, and instead would hand the role of lead dev for Minecraft to Jens Bergenston. He goes into more detail about this in a Tumblr post. We've been working together on Minecraft for a year now, and I'm amazed at how much in sync we two are when it comes to how to design the game. And when we don't agree, we discuss it, and something much better comes out as a result. He's truly a great person to work with, and I feel very confident handing over the leadership of Minecraft to him. Personally, I will now rest for a while, then get back to work refreshed and eager. I'll be helping out with Minecraft, of course, but also starting work on some new projects. And while the creator was stepping down, he would still help out crafting Minecraft, with Jen being the lead on what Minecraft would become. And even with this announcement, the biggest announcement was actually that Minecraft was to be moved out of beta and release the full version of Minecraft. And with the official release, there are a lot of new staples of the game to be added, such as status effects, brewing, potions, enchanting, animal breeding, the Mushroom Island biome, the mushrooms, the snow golems, magma cubes, the blazes, 9 new music discs, strongholds now generate with random loot chests, the villagers, and of course the end, which is an alternate dimension that is inhabited at this time by Enderman and the Ender Dragon. The end consists of several large islands surrounding the main island. All of the islands are made of endstone and float above an endless black void. Blocks that can be found on the main island include obsidian, which makes up the healing pillars of the Ender Dragon. Bedrock blocks can be found atop the towers, and special blocks known as Ender Crystals, which float above the pillars and heal the Ender Dragon. When the End Crystals are destroyed and the Ender Dragon is defeated, you essentially beat the game, where you'll experience one of the most interesting end credit sequences in video game history. And the last addition to Minecraft with the official release is a price change, as the price of this version was now $26.95. And with that, Minecraft had officially been released to the public. In just a few years, Marcus Pearson turned this little blocky game into a loved gaming phenomenon. And with the continuously growing fan base, Jens Bergensen was moved from a back-end programmer from Scrolls to the lead programming role for Minecraft. And right before the end of 2011, Mojang decided to add another person to the staff. John Kagstrom, who was hired to be an AI programmer for Minecraft. John had previously done AI programming work for the Battlefield series. Also added to the Mojang crew was the Bucket team, which composed of Nathan Adams, also known as Dinnerbone, a man who had learned programming through creating MSN bots at age 10, and after finishing secondary school, Adams was rejected from college, so he found a job with a tiny web development company, but was made redundant after a few years. Shortly after this, he started Bucket, and then Adams was hired by Curse, where he worked until joining Mojang. Also a part of the Bucket team was Warren Liu, Eric Burrows, and Nathan Gilbert. It was later uncovered that the Bucket project that was built had been acquired from Curse by Mojang as an agreement to being hired. This acquisition meant Mojang apparently took full ownership of the Craft Bucket server mod, which enables the use of Bucket. Although the validity of this claim was questioned due to its status as an open source project with many contributors, licensed under the GNU General Public License and Lesser General Public License. Regardless, these four were brought in to help further develop the Minecraft server software and to aid with the creation of modding APIs. And APIs are application programming interfaces, which provides third-party developers with the ability to add their own code to Minecraft through the use of plugins. This has completely changed how Minecraft servers are managed and has exponentially expanded their capabilities. And as for plugins, plugins are to Minecraft as extensions are to browsers. Third-party developers use these to write additional code to plug in the server. As these do not modify the game itself, such as in the case of mods, they are more limited with what they can do. However, this also means that they only need to be installed on the server side. No modifications are necessary in your own game files to get them working. And this is where Bucket came in. Bucket was a set of community-built open source tools envisioned and developed to ease the creation of MCW multiplayer plugins. As the Minecraft player base continued to grow, it only made sense to keep adding to its staff. And as the staff grew, so did Minecraft's publicity. As it was soon announced in February of 2012 that Minecraft will be getting its own LEGO set. So now kids and adults can play Minecraft physically with their hands, not just with controllers. And while Minecraft Legos would be set to be released in June of 2012, the Xbox 360 version of Minecraft would be released on May 9th of 2012. This would be happening just 2 months after Minecraft became the 6th best-selling PC game of all time, just behind games like Half-Life 2 and StarCraft, selling 5.3 million copies at this time. And while a lot of new and exciting stuff happened at a rapid pace in the last few years, things seem to have calmed down for Minecraft. New features were added in new updates during 2012, such as zombie sieges, jungle biomes, iron golems, ocelots, trading, adventure mode, new generated jungle and desert pyramids, ender chests, desert villages, and emeralds, which were going to be rubies until Mojang changed them during development. Also happening again in 2012 was Minecon. On April 9th of 2012, Lydia Winters confirmed that Minecon 2012 would occur in Europe. However, it was not until August 2nd Mojang would officially announce through a promotional video on YouTube that Minecon 2012 would be held in Disneyland Paris for 2 days on November 24th and 25th. This was the first Minecon to be held outside the US, and it had 4,500 attendees. And with all that out of the way, it was the end of another year. Minecraft had continued to grow, as its estimated revenue for 2012 was $211 million, with gross profits of more than $101 million to $150 million, of which Pearson paid to himself in exchange for the licenses to Minecraft's intellectual property. Marcus and his company were swimming in money. And because of this, not only did the 3 founders get to feel the wealth, so did the rest of the team, as Marcus gave the team a $3 million group bonus. And while 2012 was supposed to be the end of the world, just like Minecraft, the Earth continued to exist into 2013. The year 2013 began with Minecraft being released on another device, the Raspberry Pi, on February 11th. If you don't know what that is, well, the Raspberry Pi is a series of small single-board computers by the Raspberry Pi Foundation in association with Broadcom. Basically, the Raspberry Pi computer is used to emulate video games, like with the RetroPie. Later on in March, Minecraft released a new update, 1.5, the Redstone update. This update added a number of new redstone-related blocks and a new decorative block, quartz. Also included was a scoreboard system, a new texture pack format, and a lighting engine optimization. However, a few weeks after that, Mojang released another update, but this one was a lot different from the previous update. Released on April 1st of 2013, Minecraft 2.0 was released. It was advertised as a new game by Mojang that they supposedly had been working on for 2 years, describing how it would bring blocky simulation games to the next level. The post also contained a changelog compromised mostly of nonsensical changes, such as a new slab of TNT called Ethos Slabs, and the addition of coal blocks and redstones, both of which did not exist at this time. There was also torch burnout, where the torch would burn out after a random amount of ticks, and they could be relit with flint and steel. There was also new mobs, like the horses and ponies, which are just cows and pigs with different textures. Then there's the diamond chicken, which are rare spawns that can lay diamonds or lapis lazuli. There is also the redstone bug, which is just a silverfish with a shade of redstone. And lastly, the pink wither. And if you don't know, the wither is an undead hostile boss that floats and shoots explosive skulls at players and mobs. And the wither can only be spawned by the player by placing 4 blocks of soul sand into a T shape and putting 3 wither skeleton skulls on top of the 3 blocks. But like I said, in this mode, it has a pink wither, which is friendly. And while this April Fool's version of Minecraft was amusing, what was even more amusing was the fact that Minecraft had just surpassed 10 million in sales, becoming the best-selling PC game of all time at that moment. And because of this milestone, Marcus decided to celebrate with his team, as Mojang took the whole staff to Monaco for 3 days of champagne-fueled partying and yachting. And as Minecraft passes yet another milestone, they decide to add another staff member to the team. Alexandra Zayak was hired to be Mojang's customer support agent. Another interesting fact is that she and Nathan Adams, who was previously mentioned as one of the hires from the Bucket team, would eventually get married and have a kid. Soon after that hire, at E3 of 2013, Microsoft announced during their press conference that Minecraft Xbox One Edition would be in the works. This would add yet another console for players to play Minecraft. And as the year continued, another big update was released, Java Edition 1.61, also known as the Horse Update. This update added many new features, including horses, leads, coal blocks, carpets, new commands, resource packs, hay bales, horse armor, donkeys, mules, and a new launcher. It was then announced next month in August that Minecraft would be playable for the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita. Like the Xbox versions, the PlayStation versions were developed by 4J Studios. The PS4 edition was planned to be released on the same day the PS4 gets released for North America, Europe, Australia, and Latin America. This would mean that Minecraft would be available on 2 of the 3 major game consoles. And yet again, Minecraft would become even more and more available to play. With more users able to play Minecraft, Mojang was quick to update the game again, with Update Java Edition 1.72, also known as the update that changed the world. This was released on October 25th of 2013, which added stained glass, packed ice, many new biomes like the Mesa, Savanna, Sunflower Plains, Roofed Forest, Birch Forest, Flower Forest, Taiga, Mega Taiga, and Deep Ocean. There was also new generated structures, new flowers, better networking, new commands, and so much more. And even more would be happening for Minecraft before the end of 2013, as once again, Minecon was taking place at the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, Florida, on November 2nd and 3rd. This time, the convention had an attendance of 7,500 people. And according to Vu Bui, the CEO of Mojang AB, the first batch of tickets were sold out in 3 seconds, with each batch consisting of 2,500 tickets.
That is episode number 1 of, what do you call it? That is episode number 1 of Minecraft, how to PvP in Minecraft. I didn't talk a lot this time because I uh I, I don't know. I just didn't feel like talking much this evening. But I appreciate everyone that subscribed. Oh, it looks like we got 3 more subscribers. I really appreciate that. And yeah, man, that was fun. I'm excited to do this again. Hopefully, you know what? At 100 subscribers, I'll do I'll do a camera. I'll want a camera, and it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really, really cool. All right, I'm out.